Welcome back, Generals, to another Let's Fix Generals 0 Hour to make the best game ever. Good. Last video we did the white space fixing on 3000 files. There was this one file, JSupport, and it couldn't because that's why. Can't set these characters. Oof, oh boy. Okay, that's why I couldn't touch this file. Okay, well, we don't care. It's a small file. Yeah. I don't care about this. Good. Okay, so what do we do next? Reviews, probably. Let me see what we should look at. This one doesn't build, it's a draft, okay. So it is possible that this is called from do team use. This one. Yeah. I don't know. Team use command button on nearest object type. Script action. Or use command button on nearest object type. Okay, how about we look into that? team. Command button, all abilities, object type. Nearest object of type. Object type. So that is object type, thing templates. Get closest objects. Okay, if best objects. Use command button on nearest object type. It seems that theoretically it could call this guy with an invalid object type, and there was a stop command button, and then it goes in here, and that would succeed. In theory, yeah. Why is this called F2? F1, F2, F3, why? Filter, filter 1, filter 2, okay. I see. Oh, the lazy programmers. Okay, so if not best object, return. So it looks as if theoretically someone could call this script with no valid object type and command stop, and then it would stop the group. GUI command stop. So to play the save, it is probably better to do a retail compatible CLC fix as well. Okay, then I will remove the ongoing discussion and I will remove my approval. Dismiss. Dismiss. Same. Add CSC fix to. Okay, let me look at this one here. Okay, I think I already started looking at this one of the previous sessions. Right. Yeah, here I asked why is this condition necessary, and here probably should say bug fix. Why does it say feature here? Bug fix maybe. Okay. Let me get this branch. I need to look a bit around this code. Game state CPP. This one. Mhm. Okay, so we are looking at this line here. Okay, what do we have? Cabal, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Set frames per second. Okay, why does it have to... Okay, so I wonder, why does it have to do it this way? So here we set the frame limit to that. Frames per second limits. So game engine, script engine reset. Okay, as the first thing I would like to see, what are the call patterns to this function? Where's it? Where's the implementation of this? Here. There we go. Okay, let's put a breakpoint in here. No. Let's compile. set to 50. Just allowing users to publish include map packs as official maps has no real downside. GenHub can always just drop maps into the user's document folder. I would expect that mods already put their official maps to the right places. So that probably needs no merging with maps.h.big to begin with. Well, I'm not sure. I have not looked. As for the retail game, I think it makes sense to keep the official and custom maps distinction. Perhaps we need more categories instead. That is a game clients. Okay, so use frame rates from skirmish settings as max frame rate after loading a save game. Use frame rate from skirmish settings. Okay, so I've put a breakpoint in here. There. Then oh Jesus. Okay, while we wait, let's also look at this guy. Okay, so we have, what is this? Recorder class file. That looks good, yeah. What's going on here? Can fix indentation here. And here. Oh, it's multiple times. Okay, then how about we say multiple times in this file. Right binary, right formats. Okay, so how's he using this now? Does this even need to be 6 + 1 characters long? I think this can be just 6. Yeah. No, because it's only reading 6 and here it's comparing 6, so because it is read with 6 and compared with 6. Unless, of course, GenRep is somehow still used beyond that, but I don't see it. No. This looks good, yeah. The Bull. Great name. The Real. Oh boy. Okay, does it call right format anywhere? It does, yeah. White null. What about this null here? White char. White null. Right, white null. Where's this used here? This null? Down here. Oof. Oof. Since you will revisit right formats function, perhaps also add a right char and right char function. And this can be simplified further. Okay, but on this it seems to be fine. Yeah. Looks pretty clean overall. What if this changes? Change the LAN playtest code above. Playtest. we can implement a read char function to file class. And this can be simplified a bit. Let's see, reads. Read wchar. Okay. Read sizes. It looks so blurry. Did you upscale the PNG images? The images look blurry now. Okay, let me get back to code. Oh boy. Oh boy. Why is this so slow? Maybe we should restart the debugger. Yeah, let me restart this. I don't know if that will help, but this is super slow. Oh man. What this is? Oh man. Okay, so here we have 30 FPS, call stack, script engine resets, which happens on game engine init. Okay, fair enough. Max FPS starts with 45. It's now set to 30. Okay. And again, on init, game engine init, set the same thing. Okay. 30. Frames per second limit. Okay, that is again on script engine reset. Okay, so it was called many, many times. Good, let's open a skirmish. Okay, now the limit is minus minus. Okay, what happens then? Ah, then it sets to 1000. Uh-huh. Okay, that's interesting. Hmm. 1000. Oh, that's fast. Use FPS limit is set to true. Interesting. So it sets a frame rate to 1000 but still says a limit to true. So it why not just set it to false then? Okay. Okay, so we have a pretty high frame rate. Yeah. Okay, and then let's say we exit now. What happens? It calls script engine reset again. And then it calls again script engine reset. And that's it. What? Okay. It's also strange that if max FPS is larger 1000, it sets it to 30. That's of course the most logical choice here. Yeah. If you put 1,000,000, cap it to 30. Yeah. 1,000,000 is way too much. Yeah. Needs to be lower. 1,000 is okay. But if you go to 1,000,000, you need to go back to 30. Right? Yeah. Okay, how do we... So we have 30 FPS. So this message that is created here, the new game message, yeah, let me see where this is being created. Append integer argument 0. That's so stupid. The problem I have with this thing is, yeah, you can push back all sorts of arguments, but what does this mean? What does this mean here, 0? Oh my gosh. This game message this is shit. This is really garbage because it's so easy to be out of sync. Like if you add a new argument here, you need to manually keep it in sync to whoever is reading that shit, right? This is really bad design. How would this be better? I don't know. You would need some structs. I think it would be better to just yeah, you could I think the way to implement this is you the you reserve in the message, you reserve enough space so that different kind of structs can be passed into there, right? And then you can push in different kind of structs, and they just are copied over, just binary copy, and then when you read it, you then cast whatever the bytes are to the struct for message new game or whatever message that is, right? Yeah. Or you could have like functions like message stream, and then yeah, you can, depending on what message type it is, you then static cast the game message to new game message, for example, right? Yeah. And then the structs are always in sync. Yeah. 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 Something like this, because this is bad. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some error, or you need some kind of checking, right? Some validation here that validates it on compile time, ideally. I don't know. Good. So it pushes 0 here. That means it does actually use a limit then, because it's smaller than 1. Yeah. Get rank points. So the fourth integer is that. Okay, so the skirmish game, this is probably where we start the new match, right? Yeah. Okay, now I understand why he put this condition here. Because he only wants it to be for the skirmish. reset. Game engine reset. No. Normal. A regular save game at any arbitrary point in the game. Well, does this mean the skirmish preferences will be applied when loading a campaign mission save game? Yeah, this looks really suspicious to me here, this implementation. Maybe, actually, I think tweak does make sense, yeah. I agree with tweak. Then this can also be tweak here. Okay. Yeah, I'm very suspicious about the implementation. It seems weird to me that we would always apply the skirmish preferences here. It's weird. So we load into campaign. Yeah, okay, that doesn't make sense. Okay, but if we now load into skirmish, we load a skirmish. I think this frame rate stuff, it needs overall a good look. the frame rate rules need a good look, I think. Like, why? I think the user should be able to control the game frame rate whenever he likes to. It should not be bound to the skirmish options. You can just change it on runtime as you play. Oh, I would like to be at 30 right now, and now I want to be 60, now 120, whatever. Okay, so there are not so many places that set the frame rate, right? There are 6 places. One is here on init. We can forget about that. Game state. That's loading game. Okay, so that's the one that he has added as a proposal. Set FPS limit. We have script actions. Okay, I guess that is something that should stay. Yeah. Get int. If not get int. Yeah, that means it's 0, right? I think we need different frame rates for different things. We need a frames per second limit for the scripts here. The scripts. Then we need one for the menu, shell map, right? Then we need one for the game. When you play, skirmish, campaign, or multiplayer, or replay. Maybe replay should also be its own. No. Replay frames per second should also be the same as in game, because what we need to be able to control is the tick rate in replay playback. Yeah, separately. I think we first need to decouple. We first need to decouple the logic tick from the frame rate everywhere. So they're independent values and they're never used interchangeably. Yeah, I think that is a first goal. Yeah. I don't know if that's already the case. I think it's not the case because the replay, for example, the speed is bound. The replay playback speed is bound to the frame rate, right? Yeah. It's only multiplayer where the frame rate is decoupled from the game tick. Yeah. Okay, so this function, what sets it max FPS here? Okay. In game engine, max FPS. Aha. It's here. Limit the frame rates. Oof. Oof. I'm not sure if we should do that. I think the frame rate stuff needs a good look. Needs a good look from scratch. I think the first course of action is decoupling render frame rates from update frame rates. Unless they are very close. Engine update rates. Then afterwards make frame rates customizable. Everywhere. Not just in the skirmish options. Make the render frame rates and engine updates rates customizable everywhere. Okay, so the max FPS, how is this used? It's used here to sleep. Yeah. So we update computer frame, and then here we sleep. Yeah. Okay, so that is... So this frame rate controls the engine frame rates. Yeah, the game engine, max FPS. This one controls the engine updates frame rates. Okay. Then how do we control the render frame rates? Well, sleeping, I think that's a problem, right? And it's just, yeah, sleeping, it means it can't create a new render frame. How does it work in multiplayer? The engine can do it, clearly. How does it do it in multiplayer then? Let me see. Is time fast? So here it does something with the replay, but we don't care. Let's go into updates. Aha. Is frame data ready? There we go. I think that's how it works. So that if we are in the network, and here this one controls probably the tick rates, then yeah, frame data ready. And so, for example, if the game hangs because some player is losing connection, you know, the network would make the game wait, essentially, right? It wouldn't update. Okay, so it means it would have to happen in here, where we say so basically we need another. Is game paused? Not is paused. I think it has to happen here, in this condition. So for the network, it needs to stay unchanged, of course, right? But for single player, we need here another function that tells us when we can advance to the next frame. Yeah. So we do have some code down here for waiting. It uses this time get time, which has a awful precision, but at least it's a reproducible value. So I guess it's fine. I think the resolution of that value is 16 milliseconds or so. Yeah. It's not great, but it's probably good enough. Time get time. Let me search for its resolution. Time get time. Clock rate. I don't know. Time get time. 5 milliseconds. That's better than I thought. or more. Okay. Use FPS limits. True. Okay, let me go to main branch. Actually, let me go to add editor config. Because I really would like to have nice indentation. But I have a rough idea of how this decoupling needs to be implemented. Yeah. Yeah. What we probably want to do is have a helper class for the frame rate limiting. Yeah. So let me add here a class. Let me add it down here for starters. Okay, so this one is the limit the frame rates. Okay, so we need a class, frame. I cannot type. It's just hanging. Fantastic. There we go. Okay, frame rate limits. Okay, so we need some voids, weights, weight to weights, weights, same. Previous time. We need this guy here as well. Make it a member. Pref time, and then we need a frame rate limit constructor. And in there we put here mpref. We initialize it with time get time. There we go. Then here we type in weight is, we put the frame rate and what is this? Max FPS is probably, let's do an unsigned int. Yeah, max FPS. Yeah. -1. Okay, why does it set mpref time down here again? No one cares. Okay, I have no idea why it sets it down here. Doesn't make much sense. So time get time now. Yes. Now limits. I don't know why it does -1 here. That's weird. So if you have 1000 and you have frame rate 30, that's 33. Oof. And then it deducts 1, that's 32. This can be const. This can be removed. Does this loop make sense? Now minus pref time. So it wants to wait 33 milliseconds. Well, the resolution of this is larger. Let me ask ChatGPT. New chats. What is a good way on Windows to limit the frame rates of a game update loop? What is a good way on Windows to limit the frame rates on Windows with C++ to limit the frame rates for a game update loop? High resolution timers, yeah. Sleep 5. Simulate some work. Start and elapsed. Yeah, so it's an interesting idea. Yeah. Okay, let's create a class. Frame rates limit 2. Yeah. Okay, frame rates limit 2. So we need a large integer. And frequency and starts. Okay. Then we do here this one. Frequency. Then we do this guy. Starts. And then yeah, then it does a work, and then we have a function same as this here, wait, with the max FPS. And there we do this shit. Yeah. Okay, so then we have here a large integer and elapsed static cast double. Do start m start divided by frequency. Okay. Let me ask. Does this work properly on every Windows install, or are there any quirks in regards to the frequency? Because I remember I tested this similar approach in Gentoo, and this caused massive issues. Widely used and works well on most modern Windows installation, but there are some historical and platform-specific quirks. Generally safe and reliable. Very old system. Okay, we don't care. Pre-Vista CPU scaling could cause drift. Sleeps only accurate. Sometimes 60 milliseconds. Oof. Is constant during runtime, but don't assume it's always 1 gigahertz or 10 megahertz. Always call it at startup. Yeah. It's constant. Oh, it could change during runtime. Don't hardcode assumptions. So it could change as you play. Oh. I never knew this. Maybe this was one of the mistakes. I used this in the past and I had massive problems. Maybe because I cached it on application launch, but then maybe during the runtime of the application, this thing can change. That's possible. Yeah. Okay, but now we get it freshly, so that's good. Target frame rate, so that will be this one here. What did you put here? Target frame time as a double. 1.0 divided target FPS. Let's put that here. Target frame time 1.0 divided by max FPS. Sleep time, okay, and then if that, then sleep, convert to milliseconds, yeah. I think we can do TW milliseconds. Okay, so elapsed sleep time larger than 0. Then we sleep. Okay, it's really efficient because it doesn't even need to repeatedly check, do we still need to sleep? Do we still need to sleep? It just like sleeps for a fixed amount of time. But then, yeah, the question is like, is this a good is this a good resolution? Is power efficient and prevents CPU hogging, although it's only millisecond accurate. Can we sleep? How can we do the sleeping with better precision? Why is it giving me two answers? What is this? Oof. Request high resolution sleeps. Okay. Do we already set this anywhere in the code? Let me see. We do. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. It's already set. Okay. Well, then never mind. That's already done. So sleep until 2 milliseconds remaining. Why not until 1 second, 1 millisecond remaining? Sleep 1 is not precise, but it saves CPU. Spin loop fills in the small gap to hit the target more accurately. Precision sub-millisecond depending on CPU speed. Okay, so here we can say sleep total time, and here we say sleep sleep say sleep. How do we name this? Sleep. Sleep. Sleep non-busy time. Then that would be sleep total time minus 0.002. Then we say if that is larger than 0, then here we sleep, and then down here, then we do the busy one. And here I would say we do while. Probably need to save. Elapsed. Can remove this here. Sleep time. Let's so do a const double const expr const double non-busy thresholds. 0.002. How about we do sleep time? Sleep time minus this and sleep time minus this. Then we can just create 2 here. How about that? Sleep time, not busy. Non-busy. Okay, sleep time. If sleep time is larger than that, this is busy waits. Non-busy waits. Yeah, this looks like it could work. Yeah, then I think we can remove this here again and this here. We could probably move this down here as well. Yeah, this looks like it could work. Yeah. Let me ask ChatGPT if this looks correct. I put together this now. Does that make sense? Let's ask for confirmation here. You're almost there. Uh-oh. But something is... Yeah, okay, it's private, yeah. Start time is not reset per frame. Yes. Yeah, I know that it needs to be public. Yes. What else? No, let's add this comments. Yeah, this is not necessary here. Why does he remove the condition here? Why did you remove the condition for sleep time before the busy waits? The reason the busy wait always happens. If you skip the busy wait, then sleep time, then you risk underrunning the frame time. Your frame might be shorter than intended. Huh? 60 FPS. Elapsed. That's fine, yeah. But suppose instead elapsed 17, already over the frame budget. Negative. To me, the explanation doesn't make any sense. I think this check makes sense to avoid calling into this if it's not needed. Like if the frame is already long enough, we skip this, we skip this. Done. I don't agree with what the ChatGPT says here. I do like his comments. That's good. I would take that. I disagree with his assessment. It makes no sense to me. Yeah. But yeah, he's right. We need the public here. Yeah. We need the private here. Okay. Okay. Let's look that through. So we have a wait, we pass in the max FPS, a target frame time 1 divided by FPS. So 30 FPS then turns into 0.0333 period. Sleep time is a target frame time minus what has already elapsed. So this one goes at the very start of the frame. We enter this and then we have the end frame and now we have the delta of how much time already elapsed. And so the sleep time will be our target frame time minus the time that has elapsed. And so this time will be positive or negative. It's negative if we don't need to sleep, right? If we're already too long. If the elapsed time is longer than target frame time. Then we have a sleep time non-busy. That is target frame time minus elapsed minus this guy. So it sleeps shorter than the total time that we need to wait. Yeah, it sleeps up to 2 milliseconds before. And then for 2 milliseconds or so, we enter a busy wait, which obviously is bad for the CPU, but increases the accuracy of our sleep. Yeah. 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 Let's call this a non-busy wait with monkey sleep. monkey sleep. Non-busy wait with monkey sleep. Okay. Then let me comment out this guy and we name this to frame rate limit 2. Okay, and how do we use that now? We need to remove this and we add the frame rate limit up here. Call it frame rate limit. We just instantiate it here and then we do it down here, frame rate limit. Limit the frame rates. Frame rate limit weights. And the max up. We need to say, we need to say if use FPS limits, then we wait. FPS frames per second. Yeah. Okay, and we wait for max FPS, which is an integer for some reason. I don't know why max FPS has to be answered. I will just leave it like this. Okay. Okay, and then we comment this here out. Okay. So this should now work as before, essentially. Let me open Fraps so that we get a FPS value in the game. Okay, so let me launch here. This. Okay, so the frame rate is now 31. Yeah, is that what we expect? Let's put it to 60. 60 FPS. It caps at 67 though. Oof. Well, that's not very accurate, isn't it? Huh. Okay. It's longer. Why is this longer? 67. Yeah. Did it actually write out? Oh, didn't compile. Okay, well, that kind of explains it. Okay, so I'm not sure we should do that. I think the frame rate cell needs a good look over. I started looking into that and have a rough plan how to do that. Okay, let's test that again. Let me remove the breakpoints. Oof. Okay. It looks like the frame rate limit is not working in the options menu. We get super fast interaction. Okay. Okay, so something is not working here. Let me see what the problem is. I guess that means we're not sleeping at all. Okay, mention update. So let's see if we enter. Well, we need to start the game again. Okay, so we do enter here. The frame rate is 30. And target frame rate, yeah. Sleep time is negative, obviously. Okay, let me put a breakpoint here and here. Let me ask what time unit is elapsed? Seconds. Okay. It's in seconds, these claims. That doesn't make sense. It's 93. 93 seconds in this frame. Oh, that can't be. machine. My machine, the units appears to be not 1 second. Hold on. This unit is way too high. 200. What does it mean? It's much larger. Value is too high for it to be 1 second. And quad part. The number we're getting here is way too big. Could it be that this is not in seconds, but something else? Let's check the documentation. Counts per second. Elapsed microseconds. Number of ticks. Along with the number of ticks per second. Your use these values to convert the number of elapsed microseconds. To guard against loss of precision, we convert to microseconds before dividing by ticks per second. Okay, but here we have a double, so that one has enough precision. We can divide it, shouldn't be a problem. So this is microseconds here. How is this value so large? I don't understand. Copy value. How's this possible? Can't copy a value? What is this? Hmm. 220, yeah. It certainly is right. Why is this so large? 220, it can't be a second value. 220, no. Yeah, this is weird. It looks like we're using it correct, but maybe I'm missing something here. We have an end query performance counter. This refers to the Windows function, right? Hopefully. Performance frequencies. Frequency start. Frequency start. And minus start. It's a double divided by frequency. That looks correct, Samir. Value is getting higher and higher here. What is this? Huh? Okay, something is not right here. Oh, now I see the error. I see. I see the error now. It's in the wrong scope. The loop is down here. Here. It needs to be here. I see. Okay, Okay, then I actually agree with what ChatGPT has said before. Let's update star down here. Yeah, we set it to what end was. Yeah. You also set it like this, right? Close enough, I guess. I think we can just assign it to end. Ah, no, we can't. That could be wrong. Unless we remove this here. But then we no longer need this here. Okay, then we remove this and rename this to, Jesus Christ, sleep time. I think this will work now. Okay, perfect. We have 30 FPS here. Let's go into the game. And now we have 60. Okay, that works very well. Very tight 60. Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay. Okay, so this works correctly now. And now we have a class that can do this frame limiting for us, which means we can not just use it here in this loop, but we can also use it in the other loop. Where was it? Here, in this loop. We can also now add a frame limit here. Okay, but I think I will end the session here. Let me just add a comment. Add a comment here. I think the frame rate stuff needs a good look overall. I think the first course of action is decoupling render frame rate from ancient update rates, unless there are issues. So then a rough plan how to do that, and so implement some things for it. And then make render frame rate and ancient update rates customizable everywhere except ancient rate and multiplayer. Okay. Yeah. Then next session I will continue with this effort. So we will try to decouple these things, and then we need to somehow make them controllable. Yeah, so we need controls for. So we have the FPS. I think it makes sense here. FPS limits. Yeah, so the bug is, well, the broken feature is that here they use this interchangeably. The FPS limit, they use it also for simulation limit. So we need to add a new. We need to add a new. We need not just FPS limit, but we also need simulation limit. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's possible. And then we can control these independently. It will probably not be possible to set the simulation higher than the frame rate naturally, unless you are in the fast forward mode and you skip frames. But generally, yeah, it needs to be two separate things. Max FPS. Okay. Yeah, I think the idea is good. It should be possible. And then once we have it separated, then we need to think about how we set these things. Probably the simulation time. The simulation time needs to be kept in single player and in replay and in the shell map needs to be kept, yeah. But then you can change it. And the frame rate, that's independent, and that you just change to however you want it to be, yeah. Yeah, I think it will work. Yeah, I think it will work. Okay. Good. Good. Then I will take a break here. Yeah, I think I mean didn't write much code, but I think it still made some good progress. I have a good idea of how to implement this feature. Yeah, then we go from there. I think this will be a really nice feature. Yeah, or a tweak. I mean, it's not really a feature, but yeah, it's surprising to me that they don't already have this distinction. They do have it for network. That's something, but they had to. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that for single player they didn't make this distinction. Yeah. Huh. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe we'll run into some trouble. Although I think it should work. Because it works in multiplayer, so I expect that this will work. Good. Then I will end it here. It has been 2 hours 30, yeah. I wish you a great day or night until next time. Goodbye.